All right, Buff fans, time for another position preview, and we're going to talk about the defensive line today. And why not do it from the hotel here in Las Vegas, scorching hot Las Vegas, where your Colorado Buffaloes were picked 11th in the Pac-12 for this year. And one of the reasons why they're picked 11th is because people just don't know how this group is going to play. They haven't seen this team play together. I think the defensive line, epitomizes that more than anything because this is a collection of guys that are coming in from various schools that maybe didn't do a whole lot at their previous school that the Buffs are counting on, or they came from a lower level. So in this preview, we're going to talk about the defensive tackles and the defensive end. So let's start at tackle, where obviously Shane Coates is a guy that we have seen a lot throughout the spring. He's been one of the stars of the spring and summer. Not only on the field, he was one of the first guys to get his number in the weight room, things like that. It looks like he's become a leader. Came from Dartmouth, highly productive there, a two-time second-team All-Ivy League player. And can he make the jump from FCS? Yes, I think he can. I think he's going to be a really good player. I think that I'm penciling him in as a starter. I think he leads this group, and he has to because they need somebody to step up and lead this group. So who's your second starter there on the defensive at defensive tackle? I think it's going to be Leonard Payne Jr., the transfer from Fresno State, who was really a full-time starter 2 years ago. He came off the bench more so last year, but he's a big body. I think he's going to be a big run stuffer for the Buffs right there in the middle. And then you have some guys that are coming from other schools, and they've been productive a little bit or maybe haven't had a shot. Chaz Wallace from Old Dominion is one of those guys that, he was productive at Old Dominion, looking for a bigger role here. Zach Blackwood from Garden City Community College is a guy that he's done some things in his career as well, but is looking for that opportunity at Power 5. I ran into him one day on campus. He is a big dude. That's a guy that definitely looks like a Pac-12 type of player. And then you have a couple of guys from some big-time schools down south. Amari McNeil from Tennessee and Bishop Thomas from Florida State. I know a lot of fans are excited about Bishop Thomas, especially because of some of his high school tape. That's a big dude. I think these guys are not only going to help, but they're going to be needed. And how good are they this first year? We're going to find out. But that group has to come through for the Buffs. I do think, though, it starts with Shane Coates and Leonard Payne. And then from there, I think that all those guys are going to get a chance to play. It's just a matter of how good can they be. Now at defensive end, a little bit different. You've got a bunch of guys from like Power 5 schools that maybe didn't play a ton, or a guy like Taj Alston from West Virginia, who was a full-time starter 2 years ago, battled some injuries, didn't play as much last year. I think he started one or two games for the Mountaineers, but he's a guy, he's a seventh-year senior actually. He's been in a couple different stops. How good can he be? He was injured throughout the spring, needs to bounce back. He's a guy that they're counting on. I think he's more of a backup type for this team, but we're going to find out. I mean, he's a guy that certainly has been a starter at the Power 5 level. So can he be that for Colorado? What we're going to find out. But I think the leader there is actually going to be Chance Main, a guy that we saw at Colorado last year. He's been through some ups and downs, been at some various stops. A guy that we didn't think was going to come back, but did this spring. He's going to be a sixth-year senior, and a guy that has put on a ton of weight as far as muscle. Played at 240 pounds last year for your Buffaloes. Is up to 270 the last time I talked to him. I think in late May, but saw him in the spring or early summer, and that guy is a beast. I mean, he is going to be a monster for this team. I think he starts at defensive end. I think the other guy that's going to start is actually Arden Walker, the kid from Cherry Creek High School. Went to Missouri the last couple of years and didn't get a chance to play a ton at Missouri, but started the last couple of games last year. Decided to transfer this year. He is back. Ran into him actually off campus, and that guy is a beast as well. I think Arden Walker really is going to take advantage of this opportunity and play a big role here. Now, and Arden, before I get to some of these other guys, said something interesting to me. He mentioned how this is one of those positions, that defensive end, outside linebacker, kind of that pass rush area, where it takes a few years for guys to learn how to play. You don't see a lot of young players dominate at this position. He's a 30-year guy. He could be ready to dominate. And so there's a few other guys in that role as well, including Savell Smalls, who is coming to CU from Washington, as well as J.J. Hawkins from Ole Miss. These are two guys that didn't play a ton. Savell Smalls played a lot of games, a five-star prospect coming out of high school. J.J. Hawkins, didn't play a ton of games at Ole Miss, but these are guys with Power 5 ability, and they're going to give some depth for this team. So to recap at end, I think you have Chance Main, Arden Walker as your starters, but I like Taj Alston, J.J. Hawkins, as well as Savell Smalls. They're all going to be needed. For this team to finish better than that 11th place finish, this defensive line has got to step up.